I think right now is a great time to like really get it back out there and like start playing and really hit it as hard as you can, because now that things are really picking back up again, everyone I know is booking shows, looking to start bands again, like all new material is coming out. So I wouldn't be discouraged at all.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters on That podcast. I'm your host Brian, and joining me today, Brett Sharp. How you doing there, brother? Brother,
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
not too bad. My sleep schedule's all out of whack, so I'm thinking it's affecting my language skills right now. So,
Oh, dude, trust me, I feel it. I don't go to bed till like 3 in the morning, and I wake up super early.
do you? You
Oh
know,
yeah.
I made a mistake of actually playing Toon Blast a little bit till like 1 in the morning last night, so that was a mistake.
For me, it's about time.
Yeah. Uh, I guess where are you hailing from right now?
New Albany, Indiana.
Indiana. That's pretty sweet.
Yep.
Welcome to my podcast and everything. I don't know if you've seen any of my previous interviews or anything, but this one just ask some simple questions, just get to know you a little bit more, and people in our community get to know your story a little bit. So, you ready?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So, we'll start with the first one here. Tell us a little bit about your drum history. How did you get into drumming?
So when I was a junior in high school, a bunch of my friends at the time were starting to like getting like music, mostly because of Guitar Hero. So they were learning how to play guitar and stuff, and just wanting to like fit in with them and hang out with them more. I was like, well, I guess I'll get into music too. And none of them play drums, so I convinced my parents to get me a drum kit one day and started learning how to play. And that was the only reason why I really got into music in the first place. And turns out, I mean, they stopped playing music, and I was like, oh well, I got a kit now, so I guess I better keep on playing. Might make something out of it. Never really wanted to be a drummer in the first place, so but here I am.
Oh, that's an
Been
interesting story. Yeah.
playing.
The the video game is interesting because a lot of times in interviews I've done, I've talked about how Rock Band kind of influenced me to take up the
Uh huh.
drums.
Yep.
Was it more the Rock Band, or I guess were you guys always trying to play that through the fire and the flames kind of song?
See, I personally was never really into like Rock Band or like Guitar Hero until like way down the road. For them, it was everything to them, but like I don't know. I mean, drumming was definitely like a learned passion because I started taking lessons with a great teacher who I still see today, and he kind of pretty much like got me to love the instrument and everything about it. And then it didn't start becoming serious to me to play drums and tour and be in bands till about midway through college, and then I dropped out of school for music, which is still what I do today.
You're still in a cover band right now, or are you in a
Oh
legit
no,
band?
no, I've been in original bands for the past like 11, 12 years. Right now, I travel the country and play with multiple bands right now. I fly all the time. I haven't played locally in a band since maybe 2017. It's been a long time.
I see. I guess it started off as a cover band and then you eventually got into
Oh
original, or
yeah,
no?
absolutely. We were a cover band for a while, and then started like writing our own music. And several bands later, I finally like quit playing in cover bands locally because I've been through so many bands around here.
I see. Where'd you go to college before?
What did I go to college for?
Yeah, and I guess which college?
Jefferson Community Technical College in Louisville, Kentucky. Went for law enforcement and did not like it, so I dropped out because I finally realized that music's truly what I want to do, whether I make it or break it. So yeah, I mean, I never really wanted to like really cared about like making drumming a career until much later in drumming.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I was kind of the same way too. I went in for criminal justice. Did you originally want to be a cop, or did you want to do some other
I was
career?
gonna be a United States Marshal and do stuff with like the FBI, stuff like that.
The
But
marshal.
very quickly, like, lost my interest while in school as I was playing in cover bands locally and like really starting to fall in love with playing music.
Mm. I was gonna say it wasn't so much the subject itself, like were teachers all cool and everything, or was it just that?
Oh yeah, my teachers were awesome. I like college was a lot of fun. I don't know. I more so went to college just because I mean I was kind of pushed into it by like my high school, and it just seemed like everyone was like, "Oh, you got to go to college, you got to get a degree," and I was like, "Nah."
Yeah, we want to be those rebellious types, and
I don't regret it either. So
that's pretty good. Yeah, that's especially true. And you always think you want to be like those big stars who dropped out of school and they end up becoming big shots later in life. But I guess
pretty much,
it hasn't really come like immediately. But I guess how bad was it after dropping out of school and then trying to get into the music career you're in now?
I mean, I would even say that only just recently, especially after the pandemic, have has my drumming career actually like gotten to the point to where I can start making some headway in the music industry and potentially making money off of it. After college, it was still in some crappy original local bands, and like we would play some shows, do some small little weekend tours here, but it never really got to the height that it is now until I changed my strategy about how to go about my drumming after COVID.
I see.
Yeah.
Sorry, I heard a little ding there. I wasn't sure if that was you or me.
Sorry, it was my phone. I need to just put it on silent.
Okay, there we go. The town you live in right now, is it like a small town with like a few bars with like stages, or is it close to like any major cities?
Oh no, it's definitely not like a major city. Where I live in New Albany is like maybe 10 minutes away from Louisville, Kentucky, which is like the main city. So this area for musicians is very much considered like the Louisville area still. And only just now is the music scene starting to build back up. We had a lot of bands and a lot of venues around like 2015 on down, and then venues started shutting down, promoters started like not coming around anymore, and bands started breaking up. And only until recently are a lot of venues starting to open back up now. Bands are starting to come out of the woodwork again. So I would say relatively the music scene here is definitely building back up, but it's not like in a good position like it used to be.
Mm.
But it's getting better.
That is good. Yeah, that's good to hear. It seems like every little town and then I guess major city too. Yeah, they always have like small to mid-sized music scenes. They're all like not like how Nashville is. I guess how far are you from
Yeah.
Nashville?
Nashville is about 2.5 hours away from me.
Oh, sweet. I actually do remember being in Louisville a couple times because my sister used to live there, and it was always really cool. I mean, we went to downtown a couple times, but didn't really see too much the music scene, so that was kind of a little bit bummer. But
I mean, once we started having the Louder Than Life festival, that's when things started really picking back up because now we have like really big music festivals here all the time. So that's when the music scene started getting back on the up and up. Before then, it was just small time shows.
it always seems like you need like a version of Woodstock to come to your town or
Much.
city. Yeah, then everything
Yep.
just starts jumping from there.
Yep.
All right, that's pretty sweet. Is your kid nearby by any chance?
My drum kit.
Yeah.
Have my old one that I don't usually play on live and in videos in my room right now, and then the current kit that I use in my videos and touring is in my living room, currently deconstructed.
All right, I guess just walk us through it real quick. What is it and what kind of brand is it?
So the main kit that I play on is an SJC custom drums kit. I got through an endorsement with them years ago. It's a 4-piece, all maple shells, super gorgeous kit. Would you like me to like walk you into the living room and show you it real quick, or?
Sure.
All right, cool. I'm bringing the laptop with me.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, I'll go ahead and show you like what I have currently set in my room. This is my first Yamaha kit with my SJC snare, and then I'll show you the kit that I usually play on. Turn the light on here real quick.
Okay.
So as you can see, let's see if you can see it right there. Yep, there's some of the toms right there. Super pretty drum set. And then I got my kick drum over here with the pillow on top of it, if you can see it.
Are you endorsed by SJC or do you just buy them?
Yes, endorsed by SJC. And I have been since, I think, 2017, 2018, I think, if I remember. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I actually did reach out to them to get them on for an interview, and I think I saw one of their owners came on for an interview with another guy who does his own little podcast too, but I haven't got him yet, but I'm hoping to get him eventually. So
They're all great dudes. I hear from them every so often. Great company, awesome sounding drum kits. Definitely have enjoyed playing on mine.
that's pretty sweet.
Super expensive though.
Yeah, like everything else.
Yeah.
I guess a good thing about it sooner rather than later, but considering how inflation has been the last couple of months and everything. But aside from that, what kind of sticks do you play with?
Vic Firth, and I've been using Vic Firth since day one. I've never switched brands.
No, not experimenting with any other ones.
Not really, no. I mean, if I try to for like a show here and there, it's only because I had nothing else to use at the time, and I just happen to have like maybe some like Vader sticks sticking around Pro Mark, but I've always used Vic Firth, and I probably will not switch.
I see. Yeah, I kind of roll with Vic Firth too, and it's just one of those things. Like if you get it and you just start playing with it, and it feels like it works, then that's the
Yeah,
one you guys stick with too. So
and since day one.
really, all right, that's pretty
Hmm.
sweet. Uh, I guess jump into your YouTube channel a little bit. Do you have one actually, or do you kind
I
of
do
roll with?
have a YouTube channel, yes. It's called Brett Sharp Drums, just like my Instagram and TikTok. It's where I post all my drum covers at that I released lately, and then a couple of live drum performances. I actually just released a video about a week ago that's doing pretty well. But I try to make as many covers as possible, but life kind of gets in the way sometimes. I also do have like a full-time job, so but yeah, I usually post anything between like pop, rock, metal covers sometimes. Recently it was Icy Stars that I covered. I've done Memphis Mayfire, Mayday Parade, stuff like that. I've even done Justin Bieber a couple times.
Justin Bieber?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see. I guess whatever rocked your boat, that's for sure. Uh, did it always start off as just drum covers, or were you already in your band and you were posting live footage then?
I mean, I didn't start the channel till about 2018, but only had like two videos on it for a long time because it was just something I felt like doing at the time, but never really stuck with it until very recently. And now I try to post on there as often as I can, which is not often enough. But eventually, I'll go away from covers completely and only do the original stuff that my bands I'm currently in is about to release. But it's primarily just covers right now.
I see. Do you create your own music too, or is it just strictly with the band? Because I
Oh,
know kind of talks about home studios.
no, it's all band stuff that I write with them.
I see. You just hear about these studios these days, how you're able to have like the audio interface, just do everything now in your basement. So I wasn't sure
Oh
if you.
yeah, I mean I got my MacBook right here in front of me with my Logic Pro, and I can write on it sometimes. But everything I do originally is all with the bands away from Louisville.
Ah, okay. I guess walk us through your process when it comes to making a YouTube video. So in this case, we'll say you're doing a drum cover. Walk us through the process.
So after deciding on the song that I want to do, which this year my plan was to stick to like throwback songs from like what I grew up with while in high school and stuff like that. I actually film all my videos in Columbus, Ohio, with a guy named Brian Ream. He is fantastic. He currently does like recording for other bands. He's got his own band. He's got his. I film at his friend's studio. His name is Honest. He's also a great guy. They're all fantastic. I drive all the way up there, which is about a 3.5 hour drive, set up, and they'll mic the kit and everything, and then we will literally just jump right into filming, and then he'll go and edit everything. The process I go about on like how I learn the songs to prepare for the covers. Typically, what I do is I spend 1 week, which sometimes is not enough, I have to admit, but I'll learn the song in about a week and I'll break it down by parts throughout the week. Like Monday and Tuesday will be the intro, verse, and chorus, and then Wednesday and Thursday will be the second half of the song. Then at the end of the week, I put it all together and then I go and actually film the songs.
I see. And I guess for the film footage, do you just set up multiple camera angles, or is that something you
Yeah.
both do?
Lately, we've been using multiple camera angles, so he'll hold one camera and kind of move it around and stuff, and then we'll have other angles that are stationary.
The reason I do ask, a friend of mine, he's in cover bands too, out in the UK. He starts doing his own little vlogs, kind of talking about where he's playing and this and that. He also sets up, I guess, multiple GoPros, mainly on his left
Hmm.
and right. Just mainly him drumming, and then just some sights of the audience out there and everything too. Have you played in both outdoor and indoor venues?
I've only played very few outdoor shows. It's mostly just been indoor venues. I would love to play like at a festival or outside like that, but it doesn't really happen too often. I've only played maybe two shows this year with the metal band that I'm in from Rockford, Illinois. But when I was touring quite a bit, I mean, I would play like maybe 30 shows a month
Mhm.
for that. But fortunately, I want to play outside a lot, but it's not really happening. So.
I guess, do you really have a preference? And I guess, why do you choose indoor or outdoor?
I mean, I guess sound wise, I would much rather play indoor. It's easier to control sound that way. As for, I mean, I really don't have a preference, really. I mean, I think all shows are fun, no matter how big or small they are, whether they're outside or indoor, even if they're all local bands or if it's like a super stacked bill with a huge lineup. But I really don't have a preference. I think all shows are fun, even if it's only in front of 10 people.
Well, I hope it's a little bit more than 10 people.
I mean,
And,
nowadays it definitely is, but I mean, I've definitely had been there for years where it's, just maybe your parents, you know.
uh, and a few drunks out in the crowd.
Yeah, but it's all fun. I have a lot of fun doing it, so.
I see. Uh, have you ever played on electric sets before?
I have, but never live. I prefer acoustic kits mostly, but I would love to have an electric kit just to have in my room to jam around while everyone's asleep who I live with. But I haven't really played on electric kits too much. I think they're a lot of fun though.
We ever think of getting one, and maybe like those touch pads, and then maybe incorporate to kind of add those like as a percussion kind of ensemble there?
Oh yeah, in the synthwave band I am in called Thrill Chase Rhode Island, we also incorporate electric pads with the acoustic kit while we perform and stuff like that. So I definitely have dabbled in that. I think it's a lot of fun. It definitely brings a lot out, especially with the music. I don't own any of the equipment personally, but I would love to.
Hmm. I see. Yeah, I do see some drummers, and normally I ask that question because I normally reference like Neil Peart because he had the one with like the big drum set, kind of like stretching all in and around him. That would had like
Yeah,
different, like the normal acoustic kit in front of him, and then it was like percussion and stuff all around him too. So he was able to diversify the sound that he was able to make.
yeah.
So normally I just ask that because I like to see if people want to diversify their sound within their music. So
I definitely think it's necessary today, especially when most bands play to a backing track. So having the electric pads and all those other different like drums you can use definitely helps diversify your all sound.
absolutely. And speaking of Neil Peart, who would you consider has been your biggest influences? And I guess if you have any others, just name them off.
My biggest drum influences kind of has changed over time. When I was first starting to play drums, my biggest drumming influences would be like Andy Hurley of Fall Out Boy, Zach Farrow of Paramore, Nate Young of Emberlin, the bands that I was listening to at the time. And then when in my college years, I started listening to more metal because my friend group kind of changed. Andrew Oliver of Icy Stars was my favorite drummer of like all time for the longest time, and currently those drummers still sit as my biggest influences.
Hmm, I see. And what sort of metal are you into? You're not really into
Metal?
demo.
I would say post-hardcore and metalcore is my biggest like type of metal that I listen to. I'm not so much a metal guy. I've always been into pop music the most. But when it comes to like metal, Icy Stars, that really electronic, like metalcore, let's see, Capture the Crown, but now they're called Capture. I mean, they're no longer a band though. And like We Came as Romans is really good, Memphis Mayfire. But my biggest taste in music is definitely pop music.
Hmm. Has it always been pop music, or has it been?
Yes, it's always been pop music.
Well, I was trying to think of because normally your parents like listen to the old classic rock or
Oh
maybe
yeah,
Elvis Presley and stuff like that. So I guess was that something your dad was into at the time, and then
my dad was always into the classic rock, and I'm talking like CCR, let's see, like Led Zeppelin stuff like that. My mom was too, and but she's also into like today's current stuff as well. So when I started like kind of like starting to listen to music myself, I was always drawn to like the early emo pop punk bands, pop rock, and just pop music in general. And
like
it's still to this day.
I was gonna say like My Chemical Romance, those kind of groups.
Yeah, yeah. Paramore, followed by My Chemical Romance, and I mean even like Katy Perry, Justin Bieber. I love all that stuff.
I see. Yeah, yeah. Each one,
Yeah.
you only hear like mainly like the big songs from like those kind of groups. Sometimes not like whole albums or like any different songs from them. It's always like the real big ones. So it's kind of a bummer too because you don't really get to know like a whole lot more of their music.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to if they would play maybe some of the lesser known songs because I think that's what an FM station used to do on the radio back then. It was one of those two, AM or FM, or whatever, and it would play the lesser known songs from albums because obviously the singles would be playing on the major airwaves, and everybody knows what those are. So it's just something I wish they would start doing. So, would you agree?
Pretty much why I listen to the radio because it was just the same 5 or 6 songs every single day.
Yeah. Actually, I can't relate. Yeah, that's been some of the stations. I know one of the ones at Liquid Metal, they've at least got a huge playlist, so they're able to have like
Yeah.
a bunch of bands. So theirs, fortunately, is able to be a lot more expansive. Is there something you hope to achieve with your social media and YouTube channels?
Uh, I mean, I'm always trying to achieve like a bigger following and reach out to a lot more people, especially drummers with my social media and YouTube, but I never set a goal to get it as large as possible. To me, my goal is always just to get into a really like good established band and actually take it as far as humanly possible. The YouTube stuff and social media that I have is merely something that I like really focused on when the pandemic really started and there was nothing to do because no one was playing at all. And that's when I started really doing the drum covers hardcore just to keep my name out there and to give me something to do. And then when it started picking up a lot of steam, I was like, well, I guess I'll just, keep on pushing it as much as I can. But really, my focus has always been on getting into like a big established band.
And I guess you're in a bunch of bands right now, right?
I'm in two currently.
I guess can you talk about them a little bit? I guess
Yeah. So I'm in a metal band called Isles of Aura from Rockford, Illinois, which I joined last October. And I played a couple shows with. We have written a whole new album, which we haven't released anything new yet, but we are in the process of doing so. And that's been a whole lot of fun. Those guys are super great. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and then the synthwave pop band. We're called Thrill Chaser. I joined in January. They're from Providence, Rhode Island. I cannot really give away too much about what we are doing, but all I am allowed to say currently is that we have started writing new material and have been doing so since March. I can't say who with and all that stuff, but you can find us on Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. Still in the process of dropping the second album, but yeah. Can't really speak too much about that stuff, but the metal band, we are definitely currently working on new music as well. Eventually, probably next year, that's when everything is going to start getting unveiled and like going from like 0 to like 10 real quick.
yeah, I guess the other group they want to just be a little secretive. They don't want to give anything away to you.
We have to be secretive with who we're working with, that's for sure. I can't say anything yet.
Yeah,
But I cannot wait to unveil. I'm so excited. I'm super excited for both bands, really.
I see.
But I am allowed to like say a little bit more about the metal band than the other one.
Yeah, metal tends to be a little bit more liberal than some of the other groups as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're just not really as secretive.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
but I mean, eventually I'll be able to like post about like all the new stuff. I just gotta keep it secret for right now because we're so close to releasing this stuff.
I see. All right, mum's the word. All right. You said you've toured a little bit in and around the States. Have you also gone internationally too?
I have not gone internationally. I would absolutely love to. The only chance I had to tour internationally was with Crown the Empire back in 2019, which didn't exactly pan out because when that was about to happen, that's when the pandemic really got bad and everything started shutting down. As for all the tours I've done, it's primarily just been the East Coast. In 2019, I toured with an electronic band from LA that was going to do an East Coast tour, and he called me 2 weeks before the tour started saying, hey, would you be the drummer? So I learned the entire album within 2 weeks, drove up to Battle Creek, Michigan to meet him and the rest of the band, and then we toured for 30 days and played 23 shows in 30 days. And the other little tours I've been on, I wouldn't really call them tours. It was more like 3 to 5 day stuff and sometimes maybe 10 days. But that's pretty much the extent of how long I've been touring. It's about 3 years.
You ever been to Canada?
I have never been to Canada. I would love to.
Oh, you know what you're
You have
missing.
only States.
Oh man, you're missing out a good bit there too. Canada's beautiful.
Yeah.
Uh,
I can't hope one day I get to tour outside of United States.
oh really? Yeah, Europe's beautiful too. I've been outside the States a couple times, and I could definitely say it's a good experience. I don't know. I guess your experiences with touring, because sometimes you hear video, or I guess hear videos from like some of the bigger stars, They talk about how it's great to get out in front of the fans and play your music in front of them, but I guess the whole setup process and then just traveling, I guess, what's been your experiences with touring?
I mean, I've definitely had some great and terrible experiences on the road. I will definitely say that 90% of touring is literally in the vehicle, and then 10% of it is playing the show, and then the rest of it, I mean, that can get very annoying and old very quick, as much as I love traveling. But I mean, I love it. Like the entire experience, everything from just traveling and meeting new people, seeing new places I've never been at, playing in front of people I've never met in my life. That's like surreal. The only time I've had terrible experiences is, I won't like mention any names or anybody, but like just when maybe drinking and partying got a little too out of control for my taste. I don't really partake in parties or drinking. But there's been some times where like we've had some pretty rough shows and stuff like that because of alcohol. Not in any bands I'm currently in right now though.
I see.
But I've had some pretty bad experiences.
Strictly you, or I guess was it other people who just drank
Other
so much?
people in the I mean it would I mean, I always try to stay as professional as possible. I mean, if I do drink while I'm on the road, it's very minimal amount because I do want to sleep that night and feel great for the next day. Certain other people have, different ways they handle tours, especially emotionally. I mean, yeah, I would definitely say the partying and just overall, like that just wears you down. And when you're on the road constantly and you're not sleeping right or eating right, it gets very like hard to do.
I see. There wasn't like any fights or anything or any sort of drama with any of the tours
Oh,
you've
there
been on?
was drama. I mean, there was absolutely, yeah. There's drama here and there. I've been fortunate enough where most of the bands I have toured with had hardly any drama at all. There was one band I did tour with. I wasn't ever a full time member. It was just I was like they just kind of recruited me for the tour. That was pretty bad. There was drama every single day.
It was more of a fill
And
and roll, yeah.
yeah, I was the filler drummer just for the tour, and after the tour was over, I got paid, packed up, went home, and that was probably the last I've ever heard from that group. But I mean, that was rough.
I see. I guess what was your best memory and what was the worst memory from touring?
Best memory of touring. Let's see. Uh, I mean, I played a show at Lollapalooza in Chicago with 21 Pilots, and the crowd was huge. I love the city of Chicago. Nighttime gig. There was like rooftop parties going on. It was just awesome. Like just the atmosphere. Everyone enjoyed it. It was the last show on the tour. I was tired, but it was just great. Like just playing in front of thousands of people. That was the first time I ever experienced what it's like to play in front of like a sea of people.
I guess
That's my happiest moment of like touring.
yeah, they saved the best for last, and I guess was that a little nerve
Oh,
wracking at first?
oh yeah, I mean I was so nervous. Even though I knew the material super well, I was so nervous. But that's part of the feeling of touring that I love too. Like I love being nervous because it makes me focus and it just adds to the whole like experience you get from touring.
I see. Yeah, it's like how sporting is too. Like you get real nervous at first, and then once the game starts, it's on.
Oh yeah. I mean, right? Like when we're like all set up, sound checks over, everyone's there, and you're about to perform. The first 10 seconds of the song, yeah, I'm nervous, but like after like the intro of the song is like you get through that part, the nerves completely go away. It just becomes extremely fun at that point.
I see.
I mean, I still get a little anxious before any gig today, even if it's like in front of like a really small crowd. I still get a little anxious, but I mean, not as nervous as that one. I mean, I've even had shows where I got so nervous I even like threw up behind stage a little bit, but so it's fun. So
I see. And your worst memory, you can answer this one. Otherwise, if it's too much, then
worst memory is chasing a drunk member out onto the highway because they had like a little panic attack. That was part of the worst memory. I won't say exactly what went down, but that was pretty bad. I
Oof.
almost packed up my stuff and left the tour early that
Oof.
night.
Yeah, I think I can know what you mean too. All right, all right, all right. Sounds good. Are you currently married or are you still single at the moment?
I am single.
I see. I guess whenever you find that girl, describe the perfect date night. Let's get into some fun questions now.
Perfect date night. Oh man, I haven't been on any dates in about 5 years. Uh, that's hard for me to say. I really don't know. I really don't have like a perfect date night. I'm more of like a low key kind of guy. Like it doesn't have to be like some expensive dinner or anything like that. It can just be super chill. We could just be like just hanging out or something. It doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Hmm.
But I really don't have like a perfect date night.
Yeah, I like to keep it simple, that sort of thing.
Yeah, super simple, easy.
I don't know. I was just picturing like full moon out. You just gather around the lake and you just get all smoochy and everything.
I
That
mean,
sort of
that's
thing.
cool too.
I mean, I know that's what I did for a different interview I did, but that was just mainly to be funny and everything. So
Yeah, I really don't have like a perfect like date night, but yeah, I mean, I've been single for a very long time.
I see. What do you love most about drumming and I guess everything you do right now?
The thing I love most about drumming is performing. I love performing on stage in front of people, no matter how big or small the crowd is. Um, I mean, plus I personally, of course, am biased for the instrument and will always say it's the coolest instrument ever of all time. I mean, you get to hit stuff.
Yeah, that's the one instrument we're allowed to hit something.
hmm But performing is my favorite thing about playing drums.
I was trying to phrase this because I know you said you got into it because of Rock Band and Guitar Hero and everything. Uh,
Yeah, I literally got into it to hang out with my friends who were trying to get into music at the time.
yeah, I see. Did you perform live like during middle school or high school?
I have been in bands since like day one. Even before I knew how to play the instrument, I was in bands playing with people. I didn't start playing shows until about a year into actually playing the instrument, though.
Did you play like any other instrument before drums, or were you just?
No, it's only ever been drums.
I see.
Before I was a drummer, I played sports,
What sport did you play?
football,
Were you a wide receiver?
quarterback, receiver, running back.
You did it all.
I did it all. Offense.
Was your school not very big, or was there just not enough kids on the team?
I mean, my school had a lot of students actually. It's just our sports programs weren't exactly like super good.
Hmm.
So it was more low key, but I mean, football was definitely important to the community at the time. The main reason why I quit playing sports is because when I became a freshman in high school, I quit growing and everybody else got bigger. So I mean, I was like, well, I mean, I'm not going to be able to keep it up when everyone's like twice my size now. So
I
had to
shrunk.
find. Yep, I stayed small and everybody else got big.
Yeah, I see. I wasn't sure if you actually played through high school. I was gonna ask.
Freshman year is when I stopped.
Okay, I was gonna ask memory about it, but I guess what was your best memory playing football? Do you remember?
In a youth league when I was in the sixth grade, so my dad was a coach, and then one of my friends I was on the team's dad was the main coach, and we had won the championship that year, the entire youth league. So that was the best memory I have. I mean, we were such a killer team. It was such a blast. I mean, we only lost one game that season. It was fun. That's when like sports, as a kid was like definitely like that's what I want to do. And then after middle school is when I joined like the actual like middle school team for the school I went to, and then I started losing interest big time.
Yeah, I think the dreams and aspirations of maybe playing in the pros slowly fade as you get to middle school and high
Well,
school.
yeah, and just the older I got, my interest in stuff had changed. So when I was a little kid, everything that was like the thing I wanted to do was sports.
That kind of irks me too. Is when your passions or interests like change at some point. Because I guess were you real passionate about criminal justice when you went off, and then as soon as you got
No.
into it,
I was never passionate about criminal justice. To be quite honest, I only chose criminal justice because I had no idea what else I wanted to do in school.
you can never go wrong with business management since that's a pretty complex field. But even still,
Yeah, at the time it was just criminal justice. And that's just what I chose, and I just tried to went with that for a few years until I realized that music was the actual passion that I had, and then I just dropped out of college.
I see. All right, so let's jump into COVID a little bit. So you kind of referenced it so far with everything that's been, I guess, closing, and then some of them have been reopening. I guess how bad did
Yes.
it affect you personally and your family and community?
So COVID affected me. It pretty much brought me back to like day one of drumming. Like, I mean, no, all my bands that I was in at the time broke up. No one was playing shows anymore. Everything was shut down. So pretty much, I had like the most boring year musically in 2020. And as a lot of people did nothing during COVID for obvious reasons, that's when I pretty much had to like figure out a way to stay relevant, which is why I started doing the covers. I mean, I didn't get the chance to start playing music around here locally again until midway through of last year when things kind of sort of started opening back up. I mean, it was very select few venues were allowing musicians to play, and I actually had joined a country band just so I could play some shows at the time. And then when things thankfully started opening back up fully at the end of last year is when I got fortunate enough to find two established bands, which are the two that I'm in now. But it definitely affected the community big time. I mean, pretty much everybody locally here quit playing music.
I see. Did you get COVID a couple times, or were you pretty fortunate?
I got COVID honestly this January. I didn't get COVID until 2 years after the pandemic, and it hit me pretty bad too. And I was already vaccinated and everything. I was really sick. Ended up going to the hospital the second day, and yeah, I mean it was pretty bad. I didn't get COVID till late in the game.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I've been pretty fortunate. I think mine was always like just bad sniffles, coughs every now and again here and there.
It was like, oh man, I felt like I was dying. It was so bad. And then after the second day, it just kind of like became like a normal cold. It got really easy after the second day, but the first 2 days were really, really rough.
Yeah, I can imagine too. I got those stories too. People saying they were vaccinated and then kind of were like down, and it seems to vary between people too. Like some, like in your case, some feel like they're like dying those first couple of days. Others feel like it's a bad cold, but I don't want to get up and do anything. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was the day the world stood still was March 15th, 2020, because that was when I came and started working from home that day. And
Hmm.
here we are 2 years later, and I'm still working from home and everything. So it's good. It's good on one side, but it seems like the normal life is very long gone right now. So
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely would agree with you that a lot of things have changed and probably will never go back to the way they were.
hmm. I guess in Indiana, have they kind of loosened their restrictions a little bit?
The restrictions here and as well as Kentucky, since it's literally right down the road, were pretty much like lifted midway through last year. Last summer is pretty much when the whole local area lifted, like no more mask mandates, none of that stuff. Everywhere I've been this year, as far as I know, I have not had to like really wear a mask other than like at the airport.
Hmm.
And I've been, I mean, yeah, and like Bethesda, Maryland, where I go a lot. No mandates there. Washington D.C., there were no mandates there, anything like that. So I don't know what's like everywhere else, but everywhere I've been, there's like no mandates at all.
I think they've given up the mandates for the most part. I think now it's
I think
like
so.
I think at certain businesses and I guess federally owned property, they'll still require the mask and everything, but it's at least
Yeah,
a bit more chill after what happened
a
in
lot of it's up
2020.
to business discretion.
I see.
I think I heard recently that airports are starting to lift, make you not wear masks anymore. It just depends on the airline, really.
I see. Yeah, it seems to vary. I've seen that in the news a couple times, but I think they also talk about how they're going to repay you for all the cancellations they've been doing. So,
Yeah.
I guess did you have any issues with like airplane cancellations, and was that kind of done in the plans?
No, not really. I mean, I've been very lucky that almost out of like the 9 times I've flown this year, only one flight was late, and that wasn't even because of like COVID or anything like that. The apparently the pilot had to get Ubered in to fly. So, yeah, I've been very lucky.
That's
Haven't
good.
had
Yeah.
any like or anything like that.
Well, that's good. Yeah, because I know they're talking about the whole luggage issue that's happening over in Europe right now. So I guess be very fortunate there.
Yeah.
So here's some fun questions we're gonna ask here. So, what's your favorite food to eat?
Oh, favorite food to eat? Chicken wings, 100%.
You got a specific sauce you like to throw on them too, or is it just strictly?
Mild, man. I don't like really anything spicy. I keep it pretty simple and plain.
What's the spiciest you've had? Speaking of which,
Uh, what's it like? The ghost chili pepper? Is that what it's called? Spicy thing I've ever eaten was that,
I think it
and
was
I
a,
would never.
I think it was like a California Reaper. I think.
Yeah, it's like yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think it's like Carolina Reaper or something like that. But ghost chili pepper is the hottest thing I've ever eaten, and I will never ever do it again.
Yeah, I think I did. I think I know what you're talking about too. I think I just had like a little sliver. It was just a
Yes,
small
it's
piece.
all it took,
That was all it
and
took.
I was
And
waiting for hours.
I don't know about hours, but at least affected me for a good few minutes there. So I had to chug
I,
a whole
I,
bunch
I
of
was.
water.
It was pretty bad. Me and a bunch of friends at work. One of them brought in the peppers that he actually made himself, and we all ate them while in the middle of the shift, and it was just bad. Yeah,
Yep.
I would never do it. Terrible experience.
Yep. That ruined the whole day right there for you. So
I had heartburn for hours.
just bad diarrhea afterwards, I guess.
Yeah, it was bad.
I see. Have you ever been to a live concert where you were in the audience and you were watching your favorite group play?
I haven't. Oh yeah. Icy Stars, my favorite band of all time. I've seen them several times. It was awesome. My first concert I actually ever been to with friends was an Icy Stars concert here in Louisville.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's a bunch of bands I have yet to see that's on my bucket list, but I have gotten to see my favorite bands several times.
I see. Okay, if you had the chance to play with somebody, regardless of whether they're guitarist, vocalist, keyboardist, whatever, who would it be with? Just like goof
Like
around.
musician or like band?
Just one individual. We'll say that.
One individual? Oh gosh. It would probably be Devin Oliver, the singer of Icy Stars.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you were to play in a band.
I could probably. I mean, there's so many people I would love to play with, but if that's the first one that came to my head, Haley Williams of Paramore, I would obviously love to play with.
And I guess if you had to play with a band, for instance, who would it be with? Would it still be Icy Stars?
Chase Atlantic.
Jason Atlantic?
I would love to play drums in that band
Why is that? Is it just
because they're like a synthy poppy kind of like alternative band, and that's like my favorite genre, and they're literally my number two favorite artist right now. I would love to play in that kind of music because it's very much like the music I'm writing with the other band Thrill Chaser.
I see.
So anything pop or synth wave, I absolutely would be all over that.
I see. Uh, would you eat a bug if you were drunk enough? Like kind of like what goes on in Thailand there, where they have like the I don't know what kind of insects, but they have insects on the little shish kebabs and that. Would you do
I
that?
know exactly. No, no,
Just as a last resort?
nope.
No, you
Bugs
would rather
gross me
starve.
out. I would starve. Bugs gross me out.
Oh, I see. Yeah, like you don't have any fears of like spiders or anything, do you?
Spiders are my greatest fear of all time. I am terrified of spiders. I don't care how big or small they are. If I see one, it's either kill it or just immediately like run away.
So I guess you wouldn't move it to the southwest with the big tarantulas and everything, would you?
Oh, good. I'll stay here. I'll stay right here in my room.
Okay,
I'm good.
fair enough. Fair enough. Uh, favorite television show?
Oh, geez. My favorite television show, and it's no longer on the air, but the cartoon Ed, Ed, and Eddie was my favorite show of all time.
Yes. Oh, I love you,
Favorite.
man.
And I'm so sad that's no longer a thing anymore, but yes, and it's still my favorite show of all time.
You know, there was some episodes with Ed and Eddie. I think it was If It Smells Like an Ed and those kind of ones where they get in trouble for all the wrong reasons. And then the kids
Yes.
just kind of pick on them or throw stuff at them, that sort of thing. And that's kind of thing I don't like about some of the cartoons that do that, where they just find a reason to be mad at the protagonist for whatever reason and then just punish them when the other one just gets away with it or doesn't suffer any punishment at all.
Yeah.
But I think the funniest one was the one where they were trying to make a home movie with a camera. Do you remember that one?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
I keep thinking of
Yep.
that one. And when Kevin gives Eddie a wedgie and he just starts dragging him on his bike all over the place and he's just
Yep.
freaking out. That's my all time favorite.
I watched that show religiously.
Did you have a favorite episode or was there?
Oh, man, I'd have to like really think about this one because there's so many episodes. I mean, I love them all. Favorite episode? I mean, I can definitely tell you who were my least favorite characters and like favorite characters, but like favorite episode would probably be the one where Ed gets to dress up in that monster costume and he goes all like feral and everybody. He
Yeah.
like chews the cereal up and throws up on people and sticks them to a wall. That would probably be my favorite episode.
Yeah, I do know which one. It was the day the Ed stood still, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dresses up in the monster outfit and just starts going all monster. And then I think it's near the end. Yeah, he starts like thinking that he's this so called
He,
superhero or whatever it's called afterwards and just
yeah,
starts
exactly. He's like
destroying
the actual.
everything.
Yep.
I see. Did you ever watch like Hey Arnold, Rocket Power, any of those other ones back then?
Yes. Oh yes. Hey Arnold, Rocket Power, Codename Kids Next Door, Courage the Cowardly Dog. All of them shows were my shows. Even SpongeBob.
Yeah, those were the days.
Those
Uh,
those are the best cartoons ever.
you know, they try to like imitate or try to make new cartoons and stuff. It seems like all we just want is the old stuff back, that sort of thing. Actually, I felt bad
Hmm.
for Courage the Cowardly Dog because I think the actress who played Muriel, I think she had recently passed. So
Did she really?
yeah, rest in peace. So
Yeah. That show scared so many people.
I can see why. Yeah, it.
Like, I mean, whoever came up with the idea of Courage the Cowardly Dog, I mean, they traumatized a lot of kids.
Well, I imagine they did the same thing with Ren and Stimpy, to be honest.
That was creepy too. Yeah.
And it's almost amazing when they put like adult humor in it, and
Mhm.
they're able to get away with it. Nowadays, it would be like flagged,
Yeah, and then, like you go back and rewatch them, you're like, oh, that's what that meant.
and then it's like, oh, how'd they
Yeah.
get away with it?
Right. I
How did
mean,
I
when you're
not see
10, you
this?
have any idea, but yeah.
All right. Well, somehow I did it, and that's just the adults still do something to get away with it. So, all right.
Yeah.
So, Brett, which is part of the podcast where I give my interviewees a little bit of freedom to ask me anything, or if there's anything you'd like to get off your chest. So, what you got?
Uh, I mean, none really.
No, not even one of my favorite colors.
Favorite colors? I mean, what is your favorite color?
Blue.
Dude, mine too.
Really? I don't know.
Yes.
I'm seeing purple right now. I don't know if I'm seeing a bunch of
My
purple.
I have a bunch of lights in my room right now. Right now, I'm rocking pink, purples, and blues.
I know. I'm seeing mostly white, and it's like shades of purple just splotching all over your
Yep.
skin right there. So,
Yeah, I got like these like really expensive like nanoleaf wall lights. You see like a bunch of like Twitch streamers have on my walls and stuff right now.
I see. Do you play on Twitch from time to time, or is that just
When I was playing League of Legends a lot, thank God I quit playing that game. I was streaming on Twitch here and there. Obviously, nothing ever came of it. It was just for fun, but yeah, I used to on Twitch a little bit.
Hmm. I kind of want to get into it, but I want to do it on my PS4 and then hook it up to my TV that's back there.
Yeah,
Got a nice little man cave down here and everything, and just chill in the love seat and just do that. It'd be nice, but still need to work on it. I need my dad to help me move everything from my room down to here, so
right. Yeah.
it's a work in progress. So I guess if you didn't have anything, would you just want me to jump to the last question, or is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, we can go ahead for the last question.
All right. So the last question, this is one I always like to ask because I like to at least get people's opinion, even if some of the answers are a little cliche. But
Okay.
given what COVID has done, and considering that businesses had to like shut down and everything, because I know it was the same here too, because the governor, or regardless of who it was from the state, they said it was like non-business entities. So I'm assuming it was the same in your neck of the woods. I think people really need hope these days because everyone's really angry and everything, regardless of what it is that kind of makes them tick. So, what sort of message of hope could you give to musicians? And then, if you want to give a message for people, you can do the same too.
I mean, for musicians, I definitely I definitely think for especially like musicians who are trying to like get back into playing since we had like a long time of nothing going on that uh they can absolutely nowadays still go out, play, and chase the dream. I think the music scene right now, since people missed music for so long and didn't have any like shows to see or anything like that, that the music scene has probably like picked up where it's left off, or if anything, it's even better than before. And that I don't really don't know. Like it's definitely something like musicians can still definitely pursue. It's not like COVID like ruined the music scene forever or anything like that. I really do think that like the music industry is bigger and better, and like people are really like excited to be able to go back out and see concerts and bands again. So as a musician, definitely go out there and play and just pick up where you left off, or if you're just now starting, uh I think right now is a great time to like really get it back out there and like start playing and really hit it as hard as you can, because now that things are really picking back up again, everyone I know is booking shows, looking to start bands again, like all new material is coming out. So I wouldn't be discouraged at all.
I see.
I almost quit at the start of the pandemic because I was heavily discouraged. I was like, this is it. Like, it's over. We're done. But nope. I really fully do believe that this is probably the best time to probably like try to be a musician and make something out of it.
I see. Spoken like a true prodigy.
Yeah.
I guess last question though.
Okay.
Okay, I technically lied. Which one? This is now more last question. Okay, what's your opinion of like the home studios? Like
Home studios? I
if you
think
have
it's
a studio in the
awesome.
basement.
I think it's awesome. I think, it's, uh, I mean, so many people have access to be able to like write and record their own music. And I think home studios are great. I mean, the place I go and film my drum covers, they have bands there, and it's a home studio in the guy's basement. And it's awesome.
If
Almost
you
every studio I've ever recorded at, except for the one in Maryland I've been to very recently, is a home studio.
yeah. Have you ever
And I
experimented with MIDI?
with MIDI, oh yeah, absolutely. Like whenever I'm like writing, typically like my drum writing process with original material is I will MIDI out exactly what I would like to go record, and then I will go and actually record it personally. Whether it actually ends up being exactly how I MIDI'd it, that's not always the case, but it definitely gives me like a layout, and I have experimented with MIDI guitar as well. And especially since I'm in a synthwave band, MIDIing out our synths and our pagers and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I love it. I think it's so much fun. And then it definitely helps me get my ideas out a lot easier than just sitting down and just like trying to come up with something on the drum kit, which I've done obviously. But being able to MIDI, I'm like, wow. If anything, it's helped my playing too, because it's made me like expand my skill set and explore like ways of playing songs I've never done before.
I see. I wanted to pause a little bit because I accidentally interrupted you a little bit there, but sorry about that.
They're
But
good.
if there's nothing else, I guess we're at the end of my podcast here, Brad. So I guess got any
All
shout
right.
outs or any last words you want to say before we close?
Uh, Definitely want to give a shout out to all my Chipotle friends. That's where I work right now. They have been supporting me since as long as they've known me. My friends, family. I mean, they've always been like supporting me in my videos since the very beginning, and definitely want to for everyone that sees this. If you want to find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, it's Brett Sharp Drums. I use the same username for absolutely everything. And yeah, I mean, this was a lot of fun. I've never done this before.
No, that's pretty
Yep.
sweet. I've actually helped people do this kind of interview deal. It's a lot. You can kind of say it's like how an interview process would go, like when you're trying to interview for a job. But
Yeah.
this one's more meant to be fun. It's more meant to be like the conversational type to
Yeah,
get to know people more. So it should help you going forward if anybody approaches you or if you make it big one of these days. So good luck to you,
Yep.
Trooper.
I definitely appreciate having the opportunity to talk to you, man.
No worries, and thanks again for coming on. So all right,
Yep. No problem.
all right, everyone. Today, my guest was Brett Sharp. He's hailing from Indiana right now. Not even gonna try to pronounce the town where he's at. So, but other than that, go support him. Go check him out on social media and everything. Subscribe to his channel. Go check out his music. Brett, thanks again for coming on, buddy. Stay safe. Stay
Thank you,
tuned.
man. See ya.